Hi everybody, Melanie Potock here. Hey, we're going to be talking about the most popular vegetable in the United States. Do you know what it is? Potatoes. Why? French fries, of course, right? French fries are everywhere, especially on every single kid's menu. So I want to chat with you a little bit about that. I work with extreme picky eaters and just garden variety picky eaters, and I help families learn to love a variety of foods. But in my book, Adventures in Veggie Land, I've got 20 different vegetables, but you know what's not in there? Potatoes. I'm not saying I don't have them as a side dish or part of the latkes or something like that, but a whole section on potatoes, I didn't do it. So I'm going to make up for that right now. We're going to start with a really basic potato salad. And as we're making it together, I want to give you a few tips on how to help kids learn to adjust to a new type of potato. One that isn't fried, one that isn't long and skinny, one that doesn't come on the side with chicken nuggets. So the best thing to do is bring your kids into the kitchen. You've heard me say this before, but if you'd like, you could go ahead and boil some fingerling potatoes ahead of time if you'd like. Ideally, I'd like the kids to be in the kitchen, help to scrub them clean, and then you can put them into the boiling water. But if you want to save a little time, that's okay. Because what the kids are going to do then is they're going to take their fingerling potatoes and chop them with even just a regular butter knife. They're soft enough. And they're going to chop them into little bite-sized pieces, and they're going to fill up a bowl about like this. Now you're ready to start with the dressing and the other ingredients. It's so easy. All you do is have the kids chop up about 2/3 of a cup, about a little ramekin of celery. All right, so throw that in. They get to throw that in too. And then this recipe calls for onions, but when I'm working with children, I usually like to use a long green onion rather than a round sweet onion, because I can simply have the kids chop up the green fronds of the onion. It's a little milder, plus a lot of people don't do well with onions. They can create some stomach upset, but if you go with the greens on the long green onion, they're a little bit milder and a little bit easier on the belly. So the kids can dump those in as well. Now, by the way, while we're doing this, I wanted to make sure that I showed you, we're actually going to deconstruct this recipe so the kids have all the ingredients on their plate as well as the final product. So you might be able to see there on my plate that I've got, oh my goodness, like 3 little pieces of onion. I've got 2 pieces of celery, and then just 2 halves of black olives, which are the next to go into the recipe. This is one of my favorite recipes, and if you wanted, you could even use the red, white, and blue fingerlings, which is kind of fun for the 4th of July, that sort of thing. But I've got your typical white potato right now. All right, my friends, now comes the dressing. When you're making a dressing with kids, it's really important to pull them into the process because, as I say a lot in all my books, we want kids to taste as we go. So make sure that everybody washes their hands well in your family, and we're going to whisk this dressing. There's my whisk. Make sure you've got a kid-size whisk. It can make all the difference, and it's also less mess. This one can get a little carried away, but I'm going to use the one that's right for my hands. And what the kids are going to do is I've already got a tablespoon of red wine vinegar. I added some capers. You could leave those out if you wanted, but you might be surprised what kids are willing to try. As a matter of fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pull out 2 little capers, and I'm going to put them right on this little polka dotted plate, and maybe the kids will try it. And if they don't, it's no big deal. You're just exposing them to new foods on the plate. Now what the kids get to do is they get to get their whisk, and we're going to add about 3 tablespoons of olive oil, and you want to whisk as you drizzle. Fantastic. I've also got a little bit of Dijon mustard in here. I'll put the recipe on the screen for you. It's a really simple vinaigrette. The other thing I added to this was some parsley. And I wanted to share with you, I'm a big fan of anything from Kuhnrichon. And they have these adorable duck snippers. You guys see those? Aren't they great? I mention them a lot in all of my books. I use them a lot with all of the kids that I'm working with. Now, They do have a sharp point, so you do want to monitor younger kids with these, but for the most part, a preschooler, a kindergarten, first grade kiddo, they're going to love these. Perfect for little hands, a nice little stop here for their fists, so they've got a good grip. And we're just going to take a little bit of parsley, and the kids can just have fun adding a smidge of parsley to this as well. I love these. Sometimes I let the kids use them. Most of the time, I'm the one who wants to use them. Let the kids use them. All right, my friends, once we've got that going, now the kids can go ahead and pour the dressing over your potato salad. Okay, now why did I pick this one for you today? Because so often we think of potato salad as more of a mayonnaise base. I personally find, especially with my picky eaters, they don't do as well with something that has that creamy base. If they can kind of see through the dressing and see the actual food, that's a little bit more comfortable for them. See what you think with your own kids, but that's why I started with this one. Oh, you know what? We almost forgot. Let's make sure we pull out a plain potato because we're deconstructing the final product so they have a little bit of everything. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to pour just a smidge of this dressing into a ramekin, maybe about a tablespoon, not much, in case the kids want to dip that potato. But we're going to go ahead and pour this yummy dressing right over our potato salad. Always make sure you have a pretty bowl. I like purple and green together. If you ever watch any of my videos where I'm in my office, my walls are purple. It's kind of my color. And you have the kids help to mix it up. By the way, make sure your bowl's deep enough for little kids. Even I'm spilling a little bit. I want to make sure that we set them up for success. Lots of crunchy celery in there, which is great. And then what I'm going to do is just take a small spoonful, gosh, barely a tablespoon, and I'm going to put it in a pretty little dish so they get a little bit of everything. Yep, that's perfect. And put it right here in the middle. You can use a tiny tasting spoon or a little appetizer fork or some toothpicks if you'd like as well. And then make sure that the kids also have something on their plate that they really enjoy eating. Even if it's just a couple fish crackers, that kind of gets them going and they're more likely to try some of the new foods if there's just a smidge of something on there that they also like. Now, meal times are different. Meal times, we want to make sure the kids have plenty of whatever they enjoy eating in addition to new foods on their plate. But when we're cooking together and we're sampling afterwards, it's a good idea to have a smidge of something that they prefer, and then of course the new recipe that we made together. Final note on that, my friends, remember, if the kids don't take a taste, that's not the point today. The more you cook together, the more you taste as you go, the more likely it is that the kids will begin to try these new foods on their own. If they don't, make sure that you consult with a speech-language pathologist or an occupational therapist, one that specializes in pediatric feeding. I happen to be an SLP that specializes in pediatric feeding disorders, but also I work with families who just have trouble getting their kids to enjoy a variety of foods. So I hope you'll give us a try at home. Let me know with a like, give me a thumbs up, tell me in the comments what you think, and I hope you guys are quickly on your way to exploring potatoes some other way than French fries.